Spencer stole her sister's boyfriend. Is such a bitch. Don't remember them having sex. When Hannah finds out, she's pissed and really jealous. Arya is brokenhearted over her English teacher. He's playing around with the two sisters. And this book ends with the police finding a body. Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel and another fun reading vlog that I'm doing. So if you saw my reading Pretty Little Liars and comparing it to the TV show video, I read the first book by Sarah Shepard that is called Pretty Little Liars. And it is a series. I don't know how many books. There are many books. Can't tell you how many, but there's a ton of small little books in this series. And I thought it would be fun to compare them to the TV show because the TV show is iconic. When I was a teenager, it was everything, and it's definitely not a masterpiece of a show, I can tell you that, but it's fun and it's always gonna have this nostalgic place in my heart. I had a lot of fun doing that video, so I thought why not continue on with it, because I actually do own, I think, all of the books. I've had them on my shelves for many years, but I've never picked them up. I don't know, I've just never really been interested in it, but I thought it would be a fun idea because I had a lot of fun when I read the first book, and it's just very easy and light books, you know, and it's just, you guys seem to like it as well. So I thought, why not do a second one where I read the second book in the Pretty Little Liars series, and this one is called Flawless. And I'm gonna tell you guys, I've had such a hard time finding what order these are in, because how hard is it to put fucking number book 2, book 3? You guys have no idea how many times I have to read the back. I have to like Google it, what order in the Pretty Little Liars book series, because it doesn't say, at least I can't find it, doesn't say on the freaking book. But I finally found out what the second book is, and it's this one, Flawless. It's such a hard time. Like, how hard is it to put a little number here? But yeah, so I'm excited to read the second book, and I'm gonna give you a warning, as I think I did in the first book. Like, I'm gonna talk in depth about stuff going on here and stuff in the TV show. So if you have not watched the TV show or read the book and you want to, it's gonna be spoilers, just to be aware of, because I'm not gonna do it spoiler free. I'm not gonna be able to do it spoiler free, because obviously I want to go in depth and really talk about stuff and comparing it to each other. So yeah, just I warned you. But this is the second book, and the series we follow all about Arya, Hannah, Emily, and Spencer. And if you have not watched my first video, I do recommend go watching that, because I will not do a recap. I'm just gonna hop right on to this one, the next book. So yeah, but I'm gonna start off with reading the back, and we'll see if it gives off some secrets toward what's happening in this book. 4 Pretty Little Liars have been very bad girls. Spencer stole her sister's boyfriend. Arya is brokenhearted over her English teacher. Emily likes her new friend Maya as much more than a friend. Hannah's obsession with looking flawless is making her sick. And their most horrible secret yet is too scandalous that the truth would ruin them forever. And why shouldn't I tell? They deserve to lose it all. Which, with every crumpled note, wicked I am, and vindictive text message I send, I'll be taking these Pretty Little Liars down. Trust me, I've got enough dirt to bury them alive. A. Okay, so we actually did get a little bit of a recap at the back, just a little bit of their love interests. But yeah, I'm excited to jump into this one. Let's just get started. Okay, so I've literally only read the prologue, but the prologue was a throwback to when Ali was still around, and the girls were still together, you know. And in the first book, you had a little, you know, you found out a little bit about the Jenna thing, as it's called, but you didn't actually find out what happened. I don't think in the first book, like, my memory is always going to be, like, my memory is a little bit mixed up, because, like, I know what happened because of the TV show, so I'm having a hard time sometimes to, like, found out was it from the TV show or the book. But I don't think you found out in the book 1 what actually happened that night with the Jenna thing. But the prologue here, like the first chapter, you had a clear description of what happened that night, and you got to meet Toby Kevinhaw a little bit more, and he's introduced as kind of this creeper that is creeping on girls, and he has this really bad reputation of being just a weird loner, basically, that's like really odd and weird, doesn't have any friends. That's how he's portrayed in the beginning, which also is in the TV show. Obviously, if you have seen the TV show, you know, like, it changes, he changes, and his description changes, and how people view him changes. But in the beginning, he is introduced as this weird boy that is just really creepy, and this is here as well. And now you have found out what actually happened that night, and that Ali was the one who, you know, with the fireworks. So yeah, that was the prologue, and that's basically where I've read. Hello guys. Okay, so before the confusion, I'm not in my apartment anymore, obviously. If you are an old subscriber, you recognize this space. I'm at my parents' house because I'm sleeping here for a couple of nights because my parents are heading away for this like mini trip. They're only away like for 2 days or 2 nights. So I'm staying here taking care of the cats meanwhile, so that's why you won't really recognize the background. But of course I took my books with me and I'm still reading and stuff. I'm also still working, like I have work tonight. I just woke up, it's about 9:30 and I start work at 1, but I plan to just like chill, read, and just have a cozy time. But I wanted to update you guys because I got up to page 75 last night and I've written down a couple of notes on my phone that I wanted to discuss with you guys, because if I don't do that, I will forget them. Okay, so what we have had so far in book 2, you know, with Hannah she's gotten in a lot of trouble. You know, she's stealing jewelry from the stores. She, you know, wrecked Sean's car, her ex-boyfriend's car, because she was mad at him. And then she accidentally, like, she stole it, but she accidentally wrecked it and destroyed it. So, and you know, Hannah lives with her mom, a single mom. Her dad and her mom divorced like a while back, and he now lives with his new family and daughter. So Hannah and her father does not have a good relationship. That's known, and that's like, you know that. But everything was going on. Hannah's mom decided to call in Hannah's dad to ask for help. Like, she's been in a lot of trouble, what do we do, please help me. So one day when Hannah got home, her dad was sitting on the kitchen counter, and obviously like she kind of hates her father. She kind of does not have a good relationship with him, but they all come up with a solution that she is gonna do volunteer work at this like rehab clinic that Sean's father owned, I believe. And obviously she's not very happy about that. But that scene, I do think I remember from the TV show, you know, when Hannah had been in a lot of trouble and the mom called in to dad and he was like sitting on the counter when she got home. So I do think I remember that from the TV show. So we have that. And then we have Emily and Maya's relationship. They're getting closer and closer. Even though like Emily is really terrified of her feelings, she won't really admit to herself that she's feeling more than she wants. Maya is pretty open with her feelings, but Emily's just really scared and terrified. She won't really admit to herself what she's actually feeling for Maya. And as we all know from book 1, Emily's parents are not very happy about Emily and Maya's relationship, even like the friendship. They're not positive about it for very like not good reasons, or like very wrong reasons. They are horrible parents for thinking that. But yeah, they're not happy about their relationship, which makes it even harder for Emily, of course, since she's really influenced by her parents, you know. And then we had a scene where Arya and Mike, Arya's brother Mike, decided to go to this bar, which I don't remember from the TV show. I know Arya went to this bar when she met Ezra, but I don't remember like she ever going to a bar with Mike. But they went to a bar, had some drinks, decided to play some beer pong, talk a little, and then they see their father with Meredith, I think she's called. And as we all know from book 1, their father used to have an affair with this Meredith girl, which actually only Arya and Allison knew. Mike or the mother have no clue because Arya never told anyone. But obviously they thought it was over because they went to Iceland for like 2 years, and you know. But they spot their father with Meredith at the bar and like freak out, of course. Like, it's their father who's still married to their mother. So that's a thing, that's a scene, and I don't remember that from the TV show, but we had that in here, just happened where they saw him at the bar. And then we have Spencer, who we all know also from book 1, kind of have this reputation of stealing Melissa's boyfriend, her older sister's boyfriend, which is not okay, like I get that. And her sister caught her kissing Ren, which was, you know, her sister's boyfriend. and now her family refuses to speak to her. They give her the silent treatment. They won't even like look at her, won't even hear her out, which is understandable. It is understandable that they, you know, don't like her right now. But Spencer just went to Allison's funeral, you know, her best friend's funeral, which is obviously like a big thing, a big horrible thing, and her parents won't even look at her. They won't even speak to her or ask her how she's doing. And that was so fucking tough to read. Like, I almost put it down because I was like, are you ever serious? Like, you have to be mature parents and ask if she's okay. I get that you're mad at her. I get what she's done was not okay, but her her best friend was just buried in the ground and you won't even ask her how she's doing. Like, what kind of parenting is that? I was just so mad. So Spencer is feeling really, really lonely right now, and she's just struggling a bit. And then we have the last thing I read last night before falling asleep, which was, you know, Emily's kind of unsure if she wants to keep swimming, which I think I mentioned happened in book 1 as well. So she kind of wants to quit the team, but then she gets offered by her coach to get captain. And then she's like, okay, I can stay for a little while longer. Because getting captain was a really huge thing, and that not even her brother and sister were. And she like kind of feels this competition between her siblings to do so good in life and everything. So of course she hopped on that opportunity. So she didn't quit the team. She's now the captain of the team. And you know, we all know the history between Emily's ex-boyfriend Ben, who they were together, but Ben then one day saw Emily and Maya kissing, and you know, then he knew that they might have feelings for each other. And Ben didn't really hold that against her before, but now when Emily goes into the locker rooms, Ben follows, because that's also a reason why she wants to quit swimming, because you don't want to run into Ben all the time at practice, because he's also a swimmer, so they will run into each other like every day after school at practice, which sucks. I get that. So when Emily goes into the locker room, she's done for the day, I believe, and then Ben follows her. And you know, at first you think he's just gonna ask like, hey, how are you doing? But he's being really mean to her. He's being really physical with her, kind of forces himself onto her, which is obviously not okay. You know, just really being a mean person and mean human being. And Emily freaks out, trying to get away. And then you hear someone standing behind Ben and saying like this deep, dark voice, is there a problem here? And you know who that happens to be? Toby Cavanaugh, which the girls haven't seen since Allison was still here. So like, because he goes to this other school, like a boarding school far away. So they haven't seen him for like 3+ years. So at first she kind of doesn't recognize him, but then she's like, oh shit, it's Toby Cavanaugh, oh my god. Like, which obviously the girls haven't had a good relationship with. They obviously have pissed him off a lot and they don't have a good relationship. So I think Emily's just surprised that he would come in and rescue her, help her out. But I do so clearly remember this, I think, scene from the TV show where Ben is being like forcing himself onto Emily, and then Toby comes to the rescue, which also is a really iconic scene, because that's like the first scene where I think you change your mind on Toby, because Toby, as I mentioned, is really portrayed at the beginning as this really odd and creep kind of guy. But here's the first time you ever see him in a new light, you know, that he might be a good guy for coming in and helping Emily out. And that's how the chapter ended, where I just read last night, that he was like, are you okay? And Emily just kind of freaked out and yeah, I'm fine, and then ran off. So I think she was just surprised that Toby was here and Toby was helping her out. But yeah, kind of an iconic scene, because I do remember that from the TV show, I believe. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I plan to read a little bit more this morning before I have to head to work. Okay, it's a little while later and I've gone up to page 136, and as you can tell, like, it's going by really fast, which I think I mentioned in the first reading vlog where I did when I read the first book, that it's such an easy writing style. It's just very easy and simple, so it's definitely a quick book, and this entire series is probably going to be really, really quick. Okay, so what have I read? We have, as I mentioned, Spencer's parents and sisters are really mad at her, which is understandable, but there was this one scene where Spencer were going to like the school bookstore, I think, and buy a book for this class, because she's really like, she's an A+ student, like she cares a lot about her schoolwork and she wants to do good, and she can't buy the book because her parents has frozen her accounts, which is understandable if we were talking about like a girl who a teenage girl who spent all her money on useful, like on meaningless things. But this is Spencer Hastings. She's really responsible. She's really like hardworking girl, and now she couldn't even buy the book for school. It's just, I think the parents are just doing it the wrong way because it's giving off the wrong effect. Because now Spencer just got even more madder at her parents and just decides to do more things she shouldn't. So it's just giving off the wrong effect. Definitely not a good move. We also had Hannah visit the V Club, who Sean is a member of, her ex-boyfriend, the club, Virginity Club, which Hannah was really pissed at Sean for being in, but you know, it's his, he can do whatever he wants, it's his body, it's his choice. But she visits there to try to apologize to him, which actually went kind of well. I think they are on a good foot, they're kind of like friends again, so that's good. And then we had another run-in with Toby from Emily's perspective. So I do distinctly remember this from the TV show, that Emily was the first one of the girls that ever changed her mind about Toby, because he's always been this weird kid or weird guy. But I remember that the first relationship was with Emily. So Emily and Toby are kind of becoming friends, and they had this other run-in at in town where he again kind of rescued her. So she's kind of starting to change her mind about him, that he's actually a good guy and is just wanting to help. But another thing that I don't remember from the TV show, I can't seem to recall that Toby Cavanaugh was a swimmer. Like, obviously he didn't go to Rosewood, he went to this other school, but here in the book he's a swimmer, and he meets Emily at these meets, you know, swimming for another school. And I cannot remember Toby Cavanaugh being a swimmer in the series, because I cannot picture him as that. So I definitely don't think we had that in the TV show. I mean, he was just this really cool guy that had black jeans and like a black leather jacket. He was definitely not a swimmer in the TV show, but we have that here. So I think that's why they kind of hit it off, because they have this connection to swimming. And Toby kissed her, which I actually didn't remember. I just remember their friendship. I don't remember that he was ever interested in her. And I think Emily's just really confused towards her feelings, if she is interested in both guys and girls or just one. Like, I think she's just really confused. Their friendship is really starting to bloom. And then of course we have A still sending text messages and emails to these girls, threatening them to expose their secrets that only the friend group know, that Allison knew. So we still have that, obviously, just getting really haunting text by A, and they're trying to figure out who A is. Obviously they have some suspicions. Like, they first thought Toby, but now he's coming around, like he's a nice guy. They don't think that anymore. And Spencer is wondering if it's Andrew Campbell, who is this really smart guy in her class, but like no one really knows. And let's not forget about the scene that I just read about, where freaking Spencer lost her V card to Ren, which I don't remember from the TV show. I know they had a thing, but I don't remember them having sex. Hello guys, and it's the next day. I just got home from work and I've showered, put on some comfy clothes, and I'm gonna hop on the couch and do some more reading, and I will update you guys when I have something to say. Because it's been a day. It's been a good day, but a very busy day. So I'm very excited to chill for the rest of the night and read a little bit before I eat dinner, and just really read and relax. I must say though, someone commented, I think, on my first video when I read the first book, that she thought the books, there's so much drama, right? So it made her anxious, and I can totally see that now. There's so much going on. There's so much drama, and it's just really hard, and I get anxious sometimes. It's just like with TV show with me. Like, I can, for example, I cannot watch Gossip Girl anymore because there's just too much drama. It's too much like intrigue. It's just too much. I get really anxious watching that, because even though it's like actors that are acting, it's just really hard for me. So because someone commented that on my video, that it made her anxious reading books with this much drama, and I can really relate, because there's just so much drama that makes me anxious, but it's fun. So I'm gonna sit down and do some reading, and I will update you guys when I have something to say. Okay, so it's quite a bit later, and I've been reading quite a bit. I've gone up to page 190, and I do have a couple of thoughts that I wanted to share with you, or a couple of things that I've written down on my phone. So let's go. Okay, so first of all, we have Arya's struggle. So we all know about her father's affair that you thought was over, but it turns out it's not. He's still seeing this woman, and Arya is really struggling between, she wants to tell her mom about it, because obviously she wants to tell the truth and she feels wrong that she knows but not her mom. But also I feel like she feels like it's not her place to tell. And of course she doesn't want her parents to divorce. She's really scared of if she tells her mom then they might divorce, which I get. So Arya is really struggling with that. Should I tell my mom what I know or should I not? So far she haven't told her anything. So basically now like both Mike and Arya know but not the mom. So she's really just struggling with that. And then we have like more stuff with Hannah and her dad, as I mentioned in the last clip, or like yesterday, that her father is in town and he is getting married to this new woman. And you know, he's just coming to town to check up on Hannah and stuff, which he haven't been doing that in a while. Like they don't have a good relationship. And can we just talk about how Hannah has this really bad relationship with herself and food? Like every time she feels hurt, sad, or betrayed, she like connects that with food. So every time she feels like not any good emotions, she binge eats. So definitely like trigger warning for binge eating. She's really just struggling with that a lot. And also as soon as she feels sad or betrayed or hurt, she also looks down on herself so much. So she's just really focused on her appearance, which you can tell by reading when it's about Hannah. So something may happen that's not good and she feels, you know, sad emotions or, you know, betrayed, and all of a sudden she feels like she has this huge pores, or she feels like she just have acne. Like she just really, every time something bad happens, she just really looks down on herself and she kind of blames herself for her parents' divorce, which is really heartbreaking. Like that must be really hard to feel. Obviously it wasn't her fault, but she feels responsible and she feels like her father's new stepdaughter has kind of replaced her, which must be a tough feeling because this stepdaughter is like the exact same age as Hannah and she thinks she's more beautiful, more smart, more like everything, and that must be hard. So Hannah kind of feel like her father has replaced her, which must be a horrible feeling. Like I can't even imagine. And then we have stuff with Emily. I mentioned yesterday, I think, that Toby kissed her, and we have that thing kind of starting, which we all know also that Emily has feelings for Maya. But as for now, what I've been reading is that Emily is really pushing Maya away. She won't answer phone calls, she won't answer text messages, and Maya even came up to her house one day, but she just kind of brushed it off. She doesn't really want to be friends with her anymore, just because I think she's really afraid of her feelings. I think she's really interested in her, but I think she's freaking out over the fact that she might be into girls, that she just pushes her away instead of, you know, facing your feelings, I think. And that's just really sad. So we have that happened, and she's really just kind of pretending to be into Toby as a facade, I think. So there is this dance coming up at the high school, and she tells her mom and sister that she's really into this guy and she's going with him to this dance, which is Toby. And yeah, I can understand, like, they have this great friendship and they're probably gonna be really good friends, but she knows deep down inside that she's not interested in him, in that way. She just wants her mom and sister to believe that, because I think that she really fears what her mom and sister, or like her entire family, would say if they knew she was into girls, which is horrible. Like I don't think her family is very accepting of stuff, because as I mentioned, her mom doesn't really like Maya either, and Emily thinks that is because of her skin color, which is just, you get so mad. But Emily definitely thinks her parents are, you know, not very open-minded and just not very, you know, no. So she's really afraid of what they would think, I assume. And then we have Spencer, who is still sneaking around with Ren. And, you know, Ren is older. Obviously, he's in university studying to become a doctor. So he goes to school and lives, like, in the city. So it's a bit of a train ride there. So she sneaks out a lot to see him, which obviously takes time because she has to go to the city every time. So that means that she is sleep deprived. She doesn't get enough sleep. She doesn't have enough energy to do her schoolwork. She doesn't go to school. She's just really lacking and having the wrong priorities, because we're talking about Spencer Hastings, who is the most hardworking girl, perfectionist, control freak, straight A student, and she rather is staying with this guy than school. She's just getting her priorities wrong, and it's just not like her, is what I'm trying to say. This is Spencer Hastings. It's just really not like her. So what I just read was she was sitting down with her computer trying to do some homework, writing this essay or paper that's really important for her grade, and she is thinking about taking her sister. Her sister is older, but she has written a lot of papers that she's now writing, you know, because you have the same courses in high school. So she is almost like deciding that she's gonna copy Melissa's paper and just write her name on it, which is terrible because, again, this is the Spencer Hastings. She would never do anything like that. And what's funny is I actually do remember this from the TV show, but I don't think it's because of Ren in the TV show. I think it's because she's a perfectionist, and I think it has something to do with drugs in the TV show, that she becomes an addict and she doesn't sleep anymore. She's just really not in a good place, and I think she copies Melissa's homework and then she got caught, and obviously that's not fun or good because her parents are really strict. So, but that happened, and that's basically where I'm at. And I also want to talk about who these girls think A is. So I do have Arya, who is kind of, her one suspect was Noel Khan, which is this guy in her class, but then she kind of brushed it off. But she has mentioned him, that she thought it was him at one point, but you know, then she kind of, no, it can't be. And I think it's Spencer also who has a couple of suspects. So I think I mentioned yesterday that she thought Andrew for a while, which is the guy in her class. And that's really like an overachiever as well, and also a straight A student, so they're kind of competing to be on top of the class. It's him and Spencer that's on top. And what's funny also is Spencer just now kind of suspected Melissa, her sister, which is funny because that was a huge thing in the TV show, if you guys remember that. As a watcher, like a watcher, you watch a TV show as a viewer, Melissa was really one of those for a long time that you suspected had something to do with it. She was just really odd, and you know something was up with her. Even though they have sweet moments together, Melissa was just always kind of suspicious and, you know, mysterious, and you definitely thought she was A for a bit. And now Spencer is like, could Melissa be A? So that's where I'm at. Okay, so I've gotten up to page 210, and we just had a scene where Arya went to find Meredith's address, and Meredith is the woman that her father is having an affair with. So just so many names and so many things happening. So if I'm repeating myself with names, I just really, you know, it's just messy because there's so many things going on and so many names and so many different dramas happening. But Arya went to find her address and went to her house and asked her, like, hey, he's my father, he's still married, and I want this to stop. But she was like, yeah, I'm sorry, but we're in love, like, I can't help it. So that's a mess, but really, like, cool of Arya to dare to do that, to go to her house and be like, hey, I need this to stop, like, it's not right. But Meredith wouldn't have it, so... But yeah, I might put this down for tonight. It's getting quite late and I have to be up early for work tomorrow, so. Hello guys, it is the next day and I'm back home in my apartment. I loved spending time and having like my family's house, meeting the cats and stuff, but I'm real glad to be home in my little safe space in my apartment. So, but I wanted to update you guys on the book. I actually just sat down and finished Flawless, and I thought I would update you guys on my thoughts and tell you a little bit about what's been going on the last couple of chapters in this book. I've written down a few things as per usual that I want to talk about, but I finished it. I'm just really easy and fast, just as the first one. It's definitely a very fast-paced series, easy, informal, very, very light, does not take a lot of brain power to read, just very, very easy language, informal, and just a little bit too much drama for me and too much intrigue, too much fake people that are pretending to be nice when they're actually not. Like, I just get really much anxiety about that. I just have to remind myself, like, it's just a book. These people are not real. Remember that, because I just get so frustrated over some things. But yeah, let's talk about some of the notes that I've been writing down. So first up, we have the cops are now determined that Allison being dead is a murder. They have been investigating if it's a murder or just not, but now they think it's a murder and are trying to figure out who actually killed her. And the cops are obviously really interested in the four girls because they were so close friends with her. And I'm not saying they think they did it, but they definitely have an interest of the girls, and They try to talk to the girls, interview the girls, like, did someone hate Allison? Did someone want to harm her? Did someone have an issue with her? And the girls starting to realize that a lot of people actually had issues with Allison. A lot of people didn't like her because she was the mean, popular girl in school. And even though she was friends with these 4 girls, she was really mean to a lot of people, and a lot of people hated her, you know, and not maybe to the point that they will kill her, but they do realize that, okay, a lot of people actually didn't like her. So, you know, we have that. We had Hannah's dad coming into town, as I've mentioned, and he actually invited Hannah over to this weekend in the city at this hotel, like a spa hotel. And Hannah was really happy because she thought that he wanted to be with her, to bond, like them alone, having, you know, a father-daughter weekend. But she gets really sad and hurt when she gets to the hotel and realized that her dad also invited his wife and his new stepdaughter. So she gets really hurt by that and surprised because she really thought that he wanted to bond with her and be alone with her. And that was just heartbreaking to read. I mean, poor little Hannah just wanted a weekend alone with her dad, and because they haven't had the best relationship since the divorce. And he decided to invite along his new family that, you know, she doesn't like, and she has every right not to like them, because the stepdaughter, which is now like her stepsister, is such a bitch. Like, oh, that was the most difficult to read in this entire book. We had a scene where she acted really nice to Hannah, and Hannah felt like, okay, maybe she's changed, maybe she's nice now, maybe we can be even friends. And then she backstabbed her and turned out to be a bitch and ruined her fucking entire relationship with her mom and her dad. And I just got so frustrated. Poor Hannah, you know, trying to see the good in her, and then she just betrays her. That was very difficult to read. And also, one thing that I've written down that I just wanted to mention is really fun. You know, we know the series is pretty old, and you can really tell that by things that they say in here. So first we have when they get the text messages. It's fun because it wrote like on Hannah's little Nokia, like, it's just, you know, the old school phones. Just, I love that. And also we had at this dance that it was called Foxy, like this high school dance, they were singing karaoke, and they mentioned that they sang an Avril Lavigne song, which is just, oh my gosh, like, I love Avril Lavigne. She's like the biggest, like, she's the only artist that I would pay money to go to see. Like, I love her with all my heart since I was young. So, and the fact that just they mention her is just really cool. I know she's had like come back with music. She did have a bit of a break because she got sick, but Avril Lavigne has recently like dropped new music, which is fine and cool, you know, really great. But I just love her OG songs, and it was real fun that they were doing one in this. So that was really fun. We also had one thing that was really hard to read was that A is threatening Arya to tell her mom about the affair that her dad is having with this Meredith. And Arya freaks out, and obviously she wants to be the one who tells her mom before A does. So she decides, okay, I'm gonna tell my mom about it. But A is the one who actually does it because Arya couldn't do it fast enough. So one day Arya wakes up and her mom is really, you know, sad and pissed, and Arya can't understand why. And then her mom is like, you knew for 4 years and you didn't tell me. So obviously their relationship has kind of crashed as for now. Arya's mom don't really want to see her or speak to her right now. She's really hurt and betrayed, which is understandable. But that was just a mess. And I can definitely not remember about the TV show if Arya told her mom before A did. I can't remember actually. I need to rewatch the show after this because I cannot remember who told the mom first. A little bit switch of location or like the camera's location. Then we have, as I mentioned, this dance Foxy, and Arya happens to go with Sean, and Sean is Hannah's ex-boyfriend. And when Hannah finds out, she's pissed and really jealous. It goes by pretty fast though, like she gets over it and she is mature about it, but she was really jealous and really pissed about it because obviously it's her ex, and she was surprised to see that Arya was there with Sean, but you know, it was just a whole lot of drama. And can we talk about Ren? Okay, so I mentioned that Ren and Spencer have been sneaking around between her parents and Melissa's back. And, you know, and then Ren decides to break up with Spencer because he says that he's found someone new. That happens to be Melissa again. Can we talk about how Ren is an adult? He's a med student. He's playing around with the two sisters. Like, First he's Melissa's, then he breaks up with her, goes to Spencer, have sex with her, and then he breaks up with her and go back to Melissa. I'm just like, what are you doing? You are an adult, a man. What are you doing? I just don't really understand him. And this book ends with the police finding a body. You first think it's Emily's because the cops are around her house, but it happens to be Toby's body that they find in Emily's backyard. And along with that, they also find a suicide note. I just don't really know if he's actually dead, because in the TV show, he's definitely not dead. I mean, he's in all of the seasons. So I'm confused, did he actually die? I'm just really interested in the next book, because if he dies, like, I mean, because he's in the entire TV show. I'm just really confused. But that would be cool if he actually died, because then there would be a difference between the book and the TV show. So I'm definitely like conflicted if he actually died. But they did find a body, and they say it's Toby's, and they found this letter to Emily, like a suicide note that was written to Emily, because they were kind of getting a friendship. But before they found his body, the girls were really suspicious about him. They did think he was A. Emily and Toby actually went to the dance together because Emily thought he was a nice guy. But then the other girls found out that they really thought he was A, so they were trying to find Emily at this dance because they were really afraid that Toby was gonna hurt her, but they couldn't find her anywhere. Then you had a scene where Toby was taking her home, right? And he was acting like really weird, saying weird things. So Emily freaks out, and she's also determined then like that he's A, so she runs into her house, but he's like determined to get in. And kind of like, not, I don't really know, it's hard from a reader's perspective if he's a nice guy or not. But he was just really acting kind of threatening to Emily and trying to get into her house. And then he disappeared, and then the next day they found his body in her backyard. I think the cause of death was overdose of pills, but I'm just, again, did he really die? Because this is just book 2, and in the TV show he has such a big role in the TV show. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, the TV show, we all know what big role he plays and how much he's in it. If not here, then who are we gonna have? I just don't understand. But yeah. But yeah, that was it for this reading vlog. I'm gonna edit it now. I haven't started editing it yet, so I don't know how messy it is. I feel like I've mentioned so many things, and there's so many things going on, so I think that you might be confused. I don't know if I've explained it good enough. Just so many things going on, and so many different characters' names that I might have mixed some things up. It's just a lot. It's easier to read, of course, but so many things are going on that it's a little bit blurry. Let me know if you guys enjoy this reading vlog and if I should continue on with reading the 3rd book. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in one of my next videos.